your primetime local news leader. Fox 22 News at 10.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Peter Dubois. First tonight, Maine State Police are investigating a child's death in the town of Limerick. On June 1st, first responders were called to a residence on North Shore Drive for an injured child. A state police spokesperson says 6-year-old Lucy Morgan received an unintentional injury while playing outside with her 10-year-old brother. According to the spokesperson, the aluminum shaft of a badminton racket became dislodged from the wooden handle, causing the shaft to strike the girl in the head and pierce her skull. Lucy was taken to a hospital and later airlifted to Maine Medical Center in Portland. She died from her injuries on Thursday. The family is from New Jersey and they were vacationing in Maine at the time of the incident. A Maine state trooper fatally shot a man at a home in Hiram today. State police responded to a call about a possible domestic violence incident taking place inside a home. According to a state police spokesperson, Trooper Zachary Fancy entered the home where he was confronted by a man who pointed a firearm in his direction. The trooper fired his weapon, killing the man. His identity has not yet been released. The Attorney General's office has been called in to investigate the use of force in this matter. Trooper Fancy was placed on administrative leave, which is standard practice in any officer-involved shooting in Maine. A crash involving a motorcycle in Augusta killed one person and injured another. According to police, a 77-year-old man from Augusta was making a left-hand turn onto North Belfast Avenue a little before 9 o'clock Thursday morning. Police say 21-year-old Hunter Davis of Augusta was riding his motorcycle east on North Belfast Ave at the time of the crash. Davis was transported to the hospital via life flight, where he died as the result of his injuries. The 77-year-old man was also taken to the hospital. He was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The crash remains under investigation. The driver in a crash that killed 4 Maine Maritime Academy students in December of 2022 received his sentence in court today. A judge sentenced 21-year-old Joshua Radding to 18 years in prison, with all but 3 suspended. He'll also serve 3 years probation. During the hearing, Radding addressed the families of the victims.
The night of December 10th plays over and over in my head every day and every night. They were my best friends, and I loved them more than anything. We did everything together, and I never meant to hurt them. I really want to say I'm sorry to the family of Chase Fawcett. I'm really sorry to the family of Luke Simpson. I'm sorry to the family of Riley Cameron. I'm sorry to the family of Brian Keeley.
Family members of one of the victims spoke during the sentencing and offered their forgiveness. Crews battled a fast-moving fire in Millinocket today. Officials say if it weren't for mutual aid and quick thinking, it could have been much worse. Our Callie Warren has more.
Flames broke out around 9 a.m. on Medway Road in Millinocket, completely engulfing and destroying a garage. Crews were still fighting embers and helping clean up into the early afternoon.
It's been a challenge with some of the void spaces and the roof, with both the layers on the roof.
Several mutual aid fire crews from as far as Lincoln fought the blaze, watching for exposure to nearby homes.
Upon arrival, garage was fully involved. We had fire spreading to the adjacent home on the property as well as to the neighbor's adjacent home. Crews began attacking the fire on each house.
No one was hurt in the incident. The fire marshal's office was called to the scene to investigate the cause. And as for the homeowners,
property owners are doing well. They're going to relocate with some family friends.
There's so many reasons why it can start. Yeah. The fire departments here are fantastic, though, I have to say. They're really, really good.
In Millinocket, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The Maine Air National Guard was on display today as Senator Collins, along with the Secretary of the Air Force, stopped in for a tour of the facility. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard has that story.
Secretary of the Air Force Frank Kendall stopped and toured the Maine Air National Guard base in Bangor on Friday. He made the stop after being in Normandy for the 80th celebration of D-Day.
Yeah, it's extremely humbling to have Secretary Kendall visit the Maine Air Guard today. It's rare. It's never happened in my 20 years being a member of the Maine Air National Guard.
The visit with the Secretary went extraordinarily well.
Secretary Kendall spent around 3 hours touring the base and talking with a group of over 650 service members.
I think he learned a lot about the vital mission played in refueling aircraft by this base.
Secretary Kendall Kendall showed a genuine appreciation of the airmen here at the 101st Air Refueling Wing, and it was very nice to see that support.
Senator Collins used the opportunity to advocate for the modernization of the Air National Guard equipment and infrastructure.
The KC-135 that is behind me is 50 years old. We need new tankers. The new tankers are called the KC-46, and I am trying to get Bangor moved up the list to get a new aircraft as soon as possible. This base has an extraordinary record when you look at productivity. For example, during the war with Afghanistan, this base did more refuelings than any base, active or reserve, on the entire East Coast.
In Bangor, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
And looking outdoors now, a bit of a dreary day out there, some sprinkles here and there throughout the day. Let's turn things over to Conrad Sapinski with a first check of our forecast now.
Thank you so much, Peter. Our first weather tonight is brought to you by Pet Care by Lindsay, is an in-home pet care provider servicing the greater Bangor, Waterville, Ellsworth, Bar Harbor, and Mid-Coast areas. And looking at our weather, definitely an interesting day. We had some scattered showers. Now we are looking at more rain back in the forecast for tonight. And then the next several days, we are actually looking at a little bit more of an active weather pattern in our forecast. Visibility still at around 6 miles. Up north, Millinocket, less than 2 miles. Bar Harbor, you are at exactly 2 miles of visibility. Rockland, down to 3. 12-mile-per-hour sustained winds here in town. Wind gusts are around 20. All over the area, around 5 to 10 miles per hour. That will be continuing overnight with rain showers, temperatures back in those mid-50s.
Alrighty, Conrad, thank you. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, our Emma Smith went down to Speedway 95 to highlight a local racer who's making a name for herself. And students, along with their teachers, got an opportunity from UMaine to build and test underwater sea gliders. We'll have those stories and more when we come right back.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Depression is a journey. I'd made some progress on my antidepressant, had some daily wins in reducing my symptoms, but I was still masking my depression. So I talked to my doctor. She told me I could build on my wins without changing my antidepressant.
Rexulti, when added to an antidepressant, significantly reduced depression symptoms, more than an antidepressant alone.
And less depression, that's a win.
Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have an increased risk of death or stroke. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and actions and worsen depression in children and young adults. Report new or sudden changes in mood, behavior, thoughts, or feelings, or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions. Report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells. Unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur. Keep moving forward. Ask your doctor about Rexulti.
Adding comfort and beauty to your home for less is as easy as 1, 2, 3. During Renewal by Andersen's Easy 3Z Replacement Window Event, the time to act is now, because Renewal by Andersen is making it easy and affordable with huge discounts on our exclusive custom replacement windows and our doors, along with special financing options so affordable you won't want to miss out on this event. And to top it all off, professional installation by our certified master installers is always included. Like we said, Easy 3Z. Call today.
Buckle up. The Phillies clash with the Mets. The Belmont Stakes and the Dodgers battle the Yankees. Super Saturday on Fox.
Randy, hit it!
Fox Mondays, Dance Along.
The place is on fire.
Play Along.
Freebird! That is correct!
And Sing Along.
Hitting high notes she never knew she had.
Name that tune, all new Mondays on Fox.
Welcome back. More than 3 million used needles were exchanged in 13 Maine communities last year. According to the Maine CDC, syringe services programs are crucial to reducing the risk of bloodborne infections such as hepatitis and HIV. In 2023, syringe services programs collected more than 3.1 million used syringes, distributed more than 3.6 million new syringes, conducted 373 HIV tests, and provided over 2,500 people with naloxone. The director of Maine CDC says this program is essential to their mission.
Why is that important? It's important because, you know, it helps provide these clean needles so that people don't share needles or reuse dirty needles, right? And that is one of the routes of how bloodborne diseases are spread.
Currently, Maine has 13 syringe service programs operating in Portland, Augusta, Waterville, Bangor, Ellsworth, Sanford, Calais, Lewiston, Rumford, and Machias. Mainers reaching for the stars. That's what a space company in our state is now planning to do by launching a series of small satellites. Brunswick-based Blue Shift Aerospace says the fast-growing small satellite market currently relies on large players such as SpaceX to get their tech into orbit, and that has very long wait times. So instead, the company wants to do it themselves right here on Maine's coast.
Yeah, we're really excited about what we're doing here in Maine. We realize that it's still, it's still jarring in some ways to see big space, big rockets launching from Texas, Florida, and imagine that Maine is doing something similar.
Are in fact not doing something similar, as they are launching smaller rockets in more environmentally conscious ways. Blue Shift says they've raised enough money to begin working next year and hope to start launching satellites in 2026. A Westbrook man is defending himself after being accused of helping asylum seekers with their immigration cases. Though he's not a lawyer or an expert, the Attorney General says those actions put people in danger of deportation. Mal Meyer sat down with the man at the center of the case.
The Bible tells us what? To take care of the needy.
Shauna O'Connor, who didn't want us to show his face, says he's helped hundreds of asylum seekers when they had nowhere else to turn.
They're trying to discredit me about the work that I do.
As we get a complaint, we will look into the complaint just like...
In a court filing, the Attorney General alleges that O'Connor exploited his position as a religious leader to gain the trust of new Mainers. He allegedly took thousands of dollars for providing legal assistance with immigration paperwork, though O'Connor is not a lawyer or expert.
We did bring action against him for violating the Maine law that requires a person be authorized to provide these services.
The Attorney General also alleges O'Connor started doing business under one group name in or about 2020.
I never, ever told somebody that I was a lawyer.
Also central to this is Open Door Church Ministries, which O'Connor ran in Portland in recent years. You didn't pressure them to give to your
Never.
church?
Never. I don't ask them money. I tell them to give offering for the church so that we can help other people that are coming.
We will be seeking certain damages against Mr. O'Connor for really the services that he provided that were completely unlawful.
O'Connor says there isn't enough assistance for immigrants arriving in Maine.
The state needs to help people. If they can't, close the border. Don't let nobody comes in.
O'Connor never responded to the complaint, so there was a default order.
I'm trying just to help these people.
Students and teachers from Belfast Area High School tested underwater sea gliders they built with support from UMaine's Rise Center. Our Doug Banks has that story.
Under the waters of Belfast Area High School is a sea glide built by two students.
And it basically has a ballast, and it's a water bottle with like wings on it. And it's supposed to float up, and then when the ballast fills, it goes down and it glides forward and backward because there's no actual propulsion on it.
That is controlled by an Arduino microcontroller and is controlling a syringe that will allow you to take water in to make the glider less buoyant, so it sinks, and then when the water gets pushed out by a servo motor controlled by the Arduino, then that's going to push the water out, make it more buoyant, and then it'll float to the surface.
With a $1.35 million grant from the National Science Foundation, Belfast educators collaborated with UMaine's Rise Center and their project, Coastal Tracers.
The work with the University of Maine is a 3-year project, and this last school year was the first year of that project.
Plans are already underway for UMaine's program to expand across the state.
It's going from Kittery to Lubeck, so we have a pretty good range. Approximately 20 teachers joining on for the second cohort, and it's going to be starting off in the summer, and that's where we'll get to meet all of the new teachers. They'll get to talk with the Belfast teachers, learn about what's been going on for the past year and a half, 2 years.
Friday's test was a culmination of hard work from the students.
Yeah, I like this class a lot. It's one of my favorite classes because you just get to build like pretty much what you want to build.
Hard work, they hope, will pay off tomorrow.
Work with the city perhaps to, inform policy about, what's going on in the Bay and how things are changing and, what storms are doing, for example, in the Bay and things like that.
In Belfast, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Delaney Dunn has been racing cars since she was just 15 years old, and now at the age of 25, she's still called Kiddo by the locals. But don't let that fool you, because there's nothing juvenile about her need for speed. Emma Smith has more.
Oh, I would do it all year long. If I could go all the way down south during the winter time and get away from the snow up here and go racing, I would. If I could race all year round, I would.
Delaney Dunn has come a long way in her decade of racing, winning her first ever Sport 4 feature event at Speedway 95 on Saturday, which is the fastest class for 4-cylinder engine cars. But that doesn't mean she isn't capable of slowing down. When asked how she won this last race, she said,
I had to go slow to go fast, because you can burn the tires off if you try going fast when you really shouldn't be. It puts excess wear and tear on the car.
But still, that doesn't mean she's always learned the easy way.
She ruined quite a few cars getting to this point, but...
Do you think that's normal?
It really is. I mean, racing, everybody, I've wrecked quite a few cars now, too, so it happens. That's part of racing.
That was Delaney's dad, who's one of her most essential team members. But she has a lot of support, and part of the fun to her is being able to show that support right back.
We're a family race team. My dad raced before I did, and my cousin Jeff races in the cage runner division currently. My half-brother is getting into racing, into the cars as well, so it's a family affair.
And their goals for the competition and the sport are reflective of that mutual support.
We're really just out to have fun, I told her, if we're not having fun, then we're not going to do it anymore.
Delaney's next race at Speedway 95 is on Saturday, June 22nd. You can watch her there, racing her 1996 Acura Integra called Bear. In Herman, I'm Emma Smith for ABC 7 and Fox 22.
Just a great story there. Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, the prosecution rests its case against Hunter Biden today, while Hunter's daughter took the stand to testify in his defense. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addresses media in Washington following intense international scrutiny. Those stories and more when
It's time to bring the family and friends to Fort Knox. One of the best preserved and most accessible Civil War forts in the nation is right in our backyard, just off Route 1 across from Bucksport. Open every day, May through October, rain or shine. Check our website for details.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
When CTI Service Center in Milford wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. CTI Service Center provides outstanding automotive and heavy-duty equipment repair, including tire sales, mount and balance, alignments, and diagnostics. CTI Service Center, simply the best.
And Doug.
Limu, someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly.
Chief? Doug.
Oh, wow. I thought you were right behind me. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. PDQ Door, Maine's choice for CHI doors, boosting the beauty, value, and security of your home with tough, dependable, and customizable CHI doors. And during PDQ Door's spring sale, enjoy $50 off a service call and $150 off any garage door and opener package. CHI doors from PDQ Door. Hamden, Rockport, Bath, Waterville, Holton, Presque Isle, and pdqdoor.com.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered, and powerful snow blowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Did you know that the Penobscot Narrows Bridge Observatory is the tallest in the world, with the fastest elevator in New England and 360-degree views from 420 feet up? Open every day, May through October. Check our website for details.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
The race for the White House is changing fast. A new series of swing state polls shows a shifting battleground as President Biden and former President Trump ramp up their attacks on one another. Doug Luzader has more.
Well, this is the first set of swing state polls we've done since former President Trump was convicted in his New York trial. But at this point, his numerous legal issues don't seem to be dragging him down.
Isolationism was not the answer 80 years ago and is not the answer today.
President Biden marking the 80th anniversary of D-Day and taking a not-so-veiled shot at former President Donald Trump with talk of isolationism. In a rare sit-down interview, he was asked directly about Trump and the debate later this month.
He's about him. I'm about the country.
Are you ready for this debate?
Yes.
We're going to win the great state of Arizona, and we're going to tell crooked Joe Biden, you're fired.
And Trump, meantime, in Arizona, talking about winning that state that he narrowly lost in 2020. And our new swing state poll shows him ahead of Biden in Arizona by 5 points. And he's also leading in Florida and Nevada. And perhaps most surprisingly, he is tied in Virginia. That's a state he lost to Biden by 10 points.
Virginia hasn't gone for a Republican in 20 years. That's a generation. Nevada hasn't gone for a Republican in 20 years. That's another generation. This means that this is a race where the battlefield is expanding in Trump's direction, and Biden is playing defense now on growing numbers of fronts.
The Biden campaign remains confident.
Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania are not in the poll. I noticed that we're a lot closer in Florida than we have been in the last 2 years. I think we're going to win Arizona. I believe we're going to win Nevada, too.
And when you dive into these numbers, issue by issue, Biden enjoys a large lead on abortion. Trump is ahead on the economy and immigration. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
President Biden was still in France marking the 80th anniversary of D-Day, and today he used the spot where U.S. troops landed on June 6, 1944 to drive home a message that's become key to his re-election campaign, protecting democracy. Fox's Rebecca Castor has more.
It's one of the most breathtaking backdrops for a presidential speech, the cliffs of Pointe du Hoc, where thousands of U.S. soldiers landed on D-Day, then climbed over 100 feet to overtake a German stronghold.
The Rangers who scaled this cliff didn't know they would change the world, but they did.
President Biden is using the anniversary of that historic day to draw a connection between the fight for freedom 80 years ago to ongoing wars today.
They're not asking us to scale these cliffs, but they're asking us to stay true to what America stands for.
Earlier Friday, Biden met with the leader whose democracy is currently under siege, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and announced more U.S. military aid is on the way.
And we count on your continuing support and standing with us, shoulder to shoulder. Thank you so much.
But there are some diplomatic concerns that partnership could change if former President Donald Trump regains the White House, as more GOP lawmakers say funding Ukraine's war is costing too much. Fox News Power Rankings find voters think Biden is better to protect democracy, but prefer Donald Trump's foreign policy.
they would always say Trump is going to get us into war with his attitude. No, my attitude kept us out of war.
Tomorrow, President Biden heads back to Paris for a day of meetings with French President Emmanuel Macron, and Donald Trump campaigns in Nevada on Sunday. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
As criticism of Israel's war efforts grow overseas, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is going on a PR blitz in Washington. Fox's Greg Palcott has more.
The situation in Gaza is becoming more complicated for Israel's military as it works to draw Hamas militants out of areas it's already cleared. The IDF announced a new ground and air assault in central Gaza, underscoring the difficulty of routing out Hamas as the war turns into an urban insurgency. And with international criticism growing stronger, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is planning a visit to Israel's closest ally. He'll head to Washington next month, addressing a joint session of Congress, promising to, quote, present the truth about the war in Gaza.
The state of Israel is in a difficult campaign on many fronts. This effort is being carried out amidst complicated international pressure on us, but I can promise you one thing. What has been is not what will be. We will change this reality.
The visit announced as Israel faces fresh condemnation for a strike on a UN school in a refugee camp. The IDF says it was a targeted surgical strike on Hamas militants, but dozens of civilians were also reportedly killed. It comes at a sensitive moment in the ceasefire talks, with some officials now accusing Israel of violating international law by targeting UN facilities.
We should really refer to a building that was once used as a school, that is just currently being used as a shelter, trying to keep people safe.
Prime Minister Netanyahu is scheduled to address Congress on July 24th. No word yet on whether he will meet with President Biden during the visit. In London, Greg Palcott, Fox News.
The prosecution rested its case against Hunter Biden on federal gun charges. Now the defense is still deciding whether to call Hunter to the stand. As Fox's Rebecca Castor reports, it was emotional in the courtroom, with Hunter's daughter, Naomi, testifying in his defense.
Hunter Biden's daughter, Naomi, said she was nervous while on the stand in his federal gun trial Friday. Her testimony brought her father to tears as she talked about his struggle with addiction. Yet she painted a positive picture of Hunter when she saw him in October 2018, the time he bought the gun at the center of this case. He seemed good and I was hopeful, is what Naomi told the jury, as many legal experts say sympathy is Hunter's only hope for an acquittal.
Every juror says they know someone who struggled with drugs. Yeah. And the combination of that, I think the defense hopes, might get a couple of them to look beyond the evidence.
Hunter pleaded not guilty to 3 felony charges tied to purchasing and possessing a gun while using drugs. But over the last 4 days, prosecutors have stacked their case against him through evidence and witness testimony. Now Hunter's lawyer is debating whether or not to put him on the stand on Monday.
I don't like it. Look, 99% of the time in the 30-plus years I've been trying cases, I don't put my clients on the stand because it shouldn't have to come down to that.
The First Lady's presence in the courtroom could also have an impact on the jury. She made the whirlwind trip from France to Delaware to attend the trial again Friday before traveling back to Europe Saturday.
He may be facing 25 years in prison if he's convicted of all 3 charges. It is absolutely reasonable for her to be there.
President Biden has said he will accept the jury's verdict and will not pardon his son if he's convicted. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
And coming up on the Fox 22 News at 10, 2,500 competitors from across Maine gathered today for day 1 of the Special Olympic Games in Orono. And in sports, the Celtics dominated in their Game 1 win over the Mavs. How the return of Kristaps Porzingis helped in a big way. That story coming up.
Fox Mondays, it's not about what you know.
How many total noodles are there?
It's how you think.
Do not feel ashamed. You're as stupid as I am.
The 1% Club, all new Mondays on Fox.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
Adding comfort and beauty to your home for less is as easy as 1, 2, 3 during Renewal by Andersen's Easy 3Z replacement window event. The time to act is now, because Renewal by Andersen is making it easy and affordable with huge discounts on our exclusive custom replacement windows and our doors, along with special financing options so affordable you won't want to miss out on this event. And to top it all off, professional installation by our certified master installers is always included. Like we said, Easy 3Z. Call today.
Hood is the cottage cheese lovers love. Why? Our country style has more protein than hummus and less sugar than yogurt. And our expertly blended flavors are a taste combination you can't recreate at home. Now that's cottage cheese. Hood cottage cheese.
Buying a home is a big family experience.
Oh, where else would you want to live?
Every story's different.
I grew up on another farm, and now I own my own.
I got introduced to a credit union when I was in college. Whether they got one customer that day to 1,000 customers that day, it feels like you are the one. The lender that you're talking to, you'll see them after work at the T-ball game. It is our dream home.
It's heaven, I guess. Did you get mommy?
The local credit union can give you that peace of mind from start to finish, and that's what they did here.
When Detail 207 wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. From cars and trucks to big rigs and motorcycles, Detail 207 does it all. If it has wheels and isn't as clean as you'd like it to be, give them a call to schedule an appointment today.
Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream is open for business. Located 5 miles off exit 244 in Medway, you will find affordable prices on all of your favorites. We offer homemade pizza, mouth-watering cheeseburgers, lobster rolls, scallops, and the local favorite is our sweet sausage sub. We also have kid-friendly meals and offer fresh doughboys and ice cream year-round. Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream. Stop by for a delicious bite to eat, and dessert too.
Welcome back. A California company is fighting back against shoplifters by putting police-style body cameras on its employees. It's the latest example of the efforts to deal with America's crime crisis. Fox's William Lajeunesse reports.
You give me my jacket right now. I'm not going to have you stealing from my store.
A manager at a boutique in Santa Monica catches a thief red-handed.
You are on video, and you are going to get arrested if you don't give me back my jacket right now.
Theft costs stores and consumers $100 billion a year, according to the National Retail Federation. Well, now the parent company of TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods has a plan to stop it.
When people know they're being recorded, again, most folks will change their behavior. Not everyone, but it does have a significant effect.
Retailers hope body cams like the ones worn by cops will help stores deter theft and improve employee safety.
People that are wearing body cameras are seeing 50% fewer confrontational incidents.
Also this week, like this Safeway in San Francisco, Dollar General eliminated self-checkout at 12,000 stores to reduce theft.
When I came and told the security people about it, they said, well, there's nothing we can do. We have to see them in action.
Thieves already know they're on surveillance cameras when walking in a store. It didn't, however, stop this woman. Boutique manager Amber Jolly says one answer is jail. Problem is, in California, police told her the thief didn't steal the $950 needed for prosecution.
As the law goes right now, there's nothing really that they can do because of the $950.
TJX says the body cameras will be worn by loss prevention associates. Well, no one wants to be followed around by the guy with a body camera. The company claims they actually de-escalate confrontations. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
The Paris Olympics are kicking off next month, and organizers are making final preparations at venues across the city. Fox's Alex Hogan has more.
The Paris Olympics kick off next month, and final preparations are underway across the city for an event organizers say will be transformative. On Friday, officials unveiling a giant display of Olympic rings for the Eiffel Tower, with organizers hoping to temporarily transform the tower from a symbol of national pride to one of unity.
It's really beautiful to see those 5 rings. You know, that monument means so much, of course, for the French people, but all over the world.
Those rings are made entirely of recycled metal, echoing a major theme of this year's games, sustainability. Organizers have appointed an environmental director whose goal is to keep the game's carbon footprint as low as possible. They're trying a variety of new methods, including banning generators and limiting new construction.
Paris 2024 has made sustainability a part of its DNA since the bit.
there's been an analysis of what we could act upon to reduce those emissions.
Another big concern, security, not just on the ground, but online as well. Earlier this week, Google and Microsoft warned of elevated cybersecurity risks from Russian hackers targeting the games. But French officials and the organizing committee say they've been working together to keep the Olympics safe, and there are no specific credible threats at this time.
It's a collective effort, and we are so excited because we believe that it's games of a new era.
The Paris Olympics kick off on Friday, July 26th, running through August 11th. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
As the market for retro gaming heats up, Fox spoke exclusively with Atari's CEO about their new acquisition of former rival Intellivision and what it means for the future of the industry. Here's Fox's Eamon Dignam.
Atari CEO Wade Rosen telling Fox about its one-time major competitor, Intellivision.
It was sort of this Nintendo-Sega rivalry from back in the day, and people kind of took one of two camps. And so the idea of being able to unite that for a generation just made a lot of sense.
It may be a major win for those involved in retro gaming, as the continually successful Atari can now issue Intellivision-owned properties, as the 70s and 80s competition comes to an end.
There's the Intellivision name. It was the Running Man logo, which is really iconic. It was a lot of the games. There were a couple games that had been separated from the brand before the acquisition, and so those are ones that we might work with in the future.
I asked about the other major retro console, ColecoVision.
No comment on ColecoVision, but it is kind of the one. It's very different than Intellivision too, because they did a lot of licensed titles.
The management behind Intellivision is promising to continue developing their Amico console, but under a new name. That console with a rocky history of failed promises and continued controversy surrounding its initial botched rollout. Other notable console wars include Sega versus Nintendo in the 90s, with Nintendo still remaining king to this day, with Xbox and Sony fighting it out for the number 2 spot. Check out this story and more in the Fox on Tech podcast every weekend. In New York, Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
All right, stay tuned, everyone. When we come right back, our full 5-day forecast is right around the corner.
All right, more rain out there for today and lots of it. We are looking at an active weather pattern in the next few days. When are we finally going to see some sunshine? 80s? Or are we going to stay back in the 60s and 70s? I'll have the answers and more coming up.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
I've been with U.S. Cellular for 27 years. They've always taken care of me. But when they asked me to talk to you about their special customer event, Us Days, I said, I gotta get in shape. So they sent me this Hollywood trainer. Oh, this guy's no joke. Us Days means exclusive deals just for us customers.
Now let's try burpees.
Us Days is back at U.S. Cellular. Current customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet.
Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to Down East Toyota?
Oh, that's easy. All roads lead to Down East. Wherever you are in Maine, come check out Toyota's lineup of all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive vehicles. Whether you're headed up to camp or down the highway, go to downeasttoyota.com to find the perfect ride, with rates as low as 1.99% on select models.
So are you for hire?
Nope, I got a day job.
That guy looks awfully familiar.
No matter where you mow in Maine, all roads lead to Down East on Wilson Street in Brewer.
Dine on the deck with a delicious view at the Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub. Experience outdoor dining at its finest. Open Tuesday through Sunday with award-winning dishes from their executive chef, Arturo Montes. Dining on the deck at Ryan's Pub is an unforgettable culinary experience you'll want to share with your family and friends. We are pet-friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table. Your next visit to the Lucerne Inn will feel like the first, all over again.
The Belmont Stakes,
from Saratoga. This is the test of the champion. Coverage begins Saturday, 4 Eastern on Fox.
Welcome back, folks. Our main weather tonight is brought to you by Varney Ford. Varney Ford in Newport gives one full year maintenance on every new and used vehicle they sell. Come visit them and see their huge selection of cars and trucks, the nice car and truck people. And weather-wise, look at this. Lots of rain outside, even into southern parts of Canada, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal. You are looking at, even Quebec, you are looking at some showers all over the area. Down south, upstate New York, PA, into northern parts of New Jersey. Still some lingering showers, and this will be a system, a very slow-moving system in our area. So expect some rain the next couple of days. For now, though, this is very scattered and all over the area. It will continue to become heavier and heavier overnight. And then the next few days, we are looking at some showers in the area, maybe even a rumble of thunder or two as well. Mixed in there, we'll of course keep an eye on things 24/7, but make sure you bring an umbrella at least the next 3 to 4 days. And then finally, middle of the week, things will start to clear up. But before it clears up, we're talking possibly around an inch of rain in some spots, maybe some pockets right here where these purple colors are, and then well up north right at that border. Some of these are indicating well over an inch of rain, maybe an inch and a half in some spots. The models have consistently been showing around a quarter of an inch of rain closer to the coast, Rockland, Bar Harbor, and then look at this into Machias, same story, not that much rain at the coast. But overall, though, everybody will see some scattered showers the next several days. Low temperatures for today. So this morning, right, we had 60 degrees to start out the day. 60 degrees. Can you believe that? Felt like a summer day. Middle of summer, our average low temperature is not even around 60 degrees. We didn't warm up much, though. Only a few degrees. Look at the coast. Only back in those 50s. Rockland, 57 earlier. 59 in Bar Harbor. Here in town, we were at 65 degrees earlier today. So warmed up only a few degrees. We should be warming up to around 72. The next 3 days, we're going to be closer to average. By Tuesday, we're looking at a few degrees above average, and then right back up to around 80 degrees Wednesday and Thursday. So get ready. Those 80s will be back very soon. Now for tonight. Tonight, we're still looking at some pretty mild air. Temperatures back in those mid-50s. Rain showers in the area, scattered showers, and some foggy conditions, folks. Light winds, definitely going to allow that fog to really develop and spread all over the region. So slow down and just leave extra room in front of that vehicle in front of you. For tomorrow, though, scattered showers and even some thunderstorms in that as well. Light winds. Some of these storms, we will see some gusty winds, but overall, though, we are looking at pretty calm winds. Temperatures around 69 degrees. Our extended forecast outlook does show more chances of thunderstorms out there for Sunday. Sprinkles for Monday. Other than that, we're dry. For Tuesday, we are looking at more chances of rain showers and thunderstorms. Finally in the clear by Wednesday. Temperatures around 80 degrees. Peter?
All righty, Conrad, thank you. And sports is coming up next. Stay with us.
Hood is the cottage cheese lovers love. Start with our award-winning country style. It's delicious on its own, or like this. That. Even, sure. Plus, it's got more protein than hummus and less sugar than yogurt. Then there's Hood's flavors. We expertly blend in real fruit or savory herbs for an unbeatable taste combination you can't recreate at home. Now that's cottage cheese. Hood cottage cheese. Always good, always Hood.
The Legacy Sandwich, where you can find quality, homemade sandwiches that are made to order. When it comes to food, we take it seriously. That's why we serve shredded chicken and turkey on our sandwiches, and our bacon is cooked fresh daily. To pair with your sandwich, we also have a selection of homemade soups, macaroni salad, and baked goods for dessert. The Legacy Sandwich, voted Bangor's best deli sandwich shop for the past 12 years running. It's not just a sandwich, it's a legacy. Give us a call today.
Upset stomach? Iberogast. Indigestion? Iberogast. Bloating? Iberogast. Thanks to a unique combination of herbs, Iberogast helps relieve 6 digestive symptoms to help you feel better. 6 digestive symptoms, the power of nature. Iberogast.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. to be continued.
Picking up that phone that's really heavy is worth it. It's okay to feel like you're not okay. Everybody's recovery looks different. There's resources and people who are on the other end of that phone who have been through the same thing.
Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Triumph Professional Cleaning Services, providing outstanding commercial cleaning services to Eastern and Central Maine. Triumph Professional Cleaning, creating an environment of cleanliness.
Hey everybody, Ryan Sudol here. Thank you so much for joining us. What a night last night at TD Garden. The Celtics are now 3 wins away from banner number 18 after a dominating performance over the Mavericks in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Boston winning 107-89, and the big story was their depth. 6 players in double digits and 7 with multiple three-pointers. That's a first in Finals history. One of the players fitting both criteria, Kristaps Porzingis, silencing any doubt about his health, coming off the bench in his return to the lineup with 20 points, 18 of which were in the first half, along with 6 rebounds and 3 blocks. If this is any indication, he is more than back, and KP couldn't be any happier.
He was great on both ends of the floor. Defensive execution, game plan, fighting for a spot in the offensive end, being physical. He played great, and that's the KP that helped us get to where we are today.
Even from the walkout before the game and then getting on the court, getting that kind of support was, was unreal, and the adrenaline was pumping through my veins, and that definitely helped. I did everything I could to prepare mentally for this moment, coming back, and it paid off.
Okay, on to the baseball diamond now. For Maine baseball, Jeremiah Jenkins has been a cornerstone these last few years, and now he's preparing for the next level. Tyler Cruz has the story.
Going to the draft, it's happening.
After 3 strong years with the University of Maine, Jeremiah Jenkins is going pro. Getting ready to hear his name called this July in the Major League Baseball draft.
I never thought I was going to become the player I did at Maine. My whole goal was I just wanted a chance to play college ball, and I always wanted to play pro ball, but I just wanted to take the opportunity and make the best of it, and whatever happens, happens. I wasn't chasing numbers or stats. My whole goal was just to get drafted, no matter what, and whatever that took.
Jenkins came to Orono in 2022 and took off from there. He earned second-team All-Conference and All-Rookie honors as a freshman, and what that did was build his confidence moving forward.
Just that confidence, because my mind, like I said earlier, my mindset when I went in there was I just want an opportunity. I'm not here, to be the man or whatever. I'm just here to help the team win.
From there, it didn't take Jenkins long to realize his potential and figure out that his 4 years at Maine may turn into just 3.
The meeting before my sophomore year in the fall, I looked at him and said, Derbs, no offense, but I don't want to be coming back here as a senior. And he's like, yeah, I don't expect you to be coming back here as a senior because I'm going to be disappointed in you. And that's, that's not him putting pressure on me, but that's he sees the potential in me and, as I saw it myself.
Jenkins exploded in his sophomore campaign. His 21 homers and 76 RBI were team and league highs, enough to be awarded America East Player of the Year. He followed that up with another 20-homer campaign as a junior and another first-team all-conference selection, and by then, it was all inevitable.
The meeting we had after this past year, he told me, look, you're definitely going to get drafted, but don't let pro ball change who you are. You played here, you did well because you stayed who you are. You're going to get drafted because you stayed who you are.
And his time at Maine is going to stay with him forever.
Meet some great people up there, the fans, the community. It's just so much love for the community and the people up there. I'm extremely grateful that I played at Maine.
In Bangor, I'm Tyler Cruz, ABC7, Fox 22 Sports.
Thank you very much, Tyler. Now to some high school playoff action. The only game going on today with a local team, Bangor Boys Lacrosse, the 7th seed in Class A, facing the 2 seed Cape Elizabeth in the state quarterfinals. To Caper country we go. Muggy afternoon there. First quarter tied up at 1. Cape's Keegan Lathrop putting on the moves and putting it home to make it 2-1. Capers then come right back down. Here's Tom Hennessy with a laser here, and it's now 3-1. To the second quarter we go. It's Hennessy again, camping out at the doorstep, and he buries it to extend Cape's lead. Soon after, look at the cradling skills here from Lathrop. He's going to plop this one in. Ooh, that was sweet. All Capers today. They move on to the state semifinals, 13-2, the final. Let's close out now with the Battle of the Sox. Red Sox opening up the series against The White Sox with a 14-2 win Thursday, trying to start the series 2-0 tonight. To Chicago we go. Top three, 1-0 White Sox. Jarren Duran, a bouncer to pitcher Garrett Crochet. Throw to first, gets away. Bobby Dalbec is going to go all the way from first to home on the error. Duran to third. So it's 1-1 now. Next batter up, Crochet wants to appeal that Duran didn't touch first, so he throws the ball to first, but there's nobody there, and Duran is going to easily steal home. Okay, so it's 2-1 Boston. Okay, bottom six now. It's 4-2 Chicago. Reliever Greg Weisser gives up this home run from Gavin Sheets. Next batter, it's Andrew Vaughn. Similar results here. Drilled into right center. That one's gone. Back-to-back homers. 6-2 White Sox, and they go on to win 7-2. All right, that's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. All things basementy. Our Stable Lock Wall System offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Your best days of the year start here at Kubota Orange Days. It's the year's biggest selection of Kubota tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles, including the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA. Plus, get 0 down and 0% APR for 84 months or up to $2,800 off select BX tractors. Orange goes all day. Sales ending soon. Visit your local dealer today.
It was one thing when my mom got Alzheimer's, but then we started noticing things that seemed off. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes she'd fidget with her fingers, get suddenly overwhelmed, and even throw things. And that was just never her. So we asked our doctor what else we could do.
Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke, report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur.
Rexulti helped reduce my mom's symptoms.
Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
Vehicle running a little rough? Let DNS Auto and Brewer fix you right up. Sales and full service repair shop. Running great now. DNS Auto, 510 Wilson Street in Brewer. Building relationships through quality sales and service.
When we say it'll be on time, they expect it to be on time.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep those expectations with reliable ground shipping.
Thanks, Brandon.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
What do we have here? Surprise, surprise, or seen it coming? A trophy hunter or a party crasher?
Welcome back. Day one of the annual Special Olympics Maine State Summer Games kicked off today at the University of Maine. With around 2,500 competitors from across the state, one organizer tells us it'll be one of the largest sporting events in the entirety of the state this year. Today's events included unified relays and bocce competitions. This year, 121 bocce teams competed in the event, making it the highest participation in the Summer Games history.
Athletes are trained and they know the oath. Let me win. If I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. And to be able to see an athlete finish 8th place in an 8-person heat and to see them just as excited because they got 8th place, because they were part of this group, part of this organization, part of the process, I think that says it all.
The games will be going on throughout the weekend, kicking off at 9 a.m. each day. A group of hardworking students in Levant got the chance to ride to school in style thanks to the local fire department. All year long, 4th graders at Levant Elementary have been participating in the fire prevention education program taught by the Levant Fire and Rescue Department. Students who completed and passed in all their homework from the program were put in a drawing for a ride to school in a fire truck. The lucky few selected got to ride around town and then were dropped off at school by the fire department, but that wasn't where the fun ended. Nine students were also given the chance, as you see, to pie Levant firefighter Steve DeWitt in the face.
That's what it's about. You put in hard work, and you know, you're trying to teach something, and they're you know, kids this age are sponges, so they're taking that home to their parents.
DeWitt says if all of next year's class completes their homework, they'll get to shave his head. So great to see their hard work paying off. Finally tonight, Maine's logging industry has a long history that stretches all the way back to the early 1600s. And for nearly 3 decades, a woman in Trenton has been drawing crowds to the more competitive side of the industry. Our Devin Dagnall explains in the latest Destination Devin.
It's an hour and 15 minutes of non-stop fun and action. Competitors ready. We do underhand chopping, cross-cut sawing, power sawing, speed climbing, axe sawing, log rolling, and more.
Tina Shear, aka Timber Tina, is the creator and owner of Timber Tina's Great Maine Lumberjack Show, and she's a Paul Bunyan truther.
Oh my gosh, my family at home, they're all like, no, no, and I'm like, always, yes, he's from Maine.
Originally hailing from Wisconsin, Tina is quite the timber sports aficionado. She got her start with log rolling at the age of just 8 years old and performed with her family for 15 years in the Shear's Lumberjack Show before making it out on her own.
Oh, I picked Maine because it reminds me of home. Of course, Acadia National Park and all the tourists that visit our area. And this is where Paul Bunyan's from, and that's where I wanted to go too. Go!
Now in its 29th season, the Great Maine Lumberjack Show is as good as ever, featuring young lumberjacks and Jills looking to fine-tune their timber sports skills during the off-season of their collegiate teams. According to Tina's performers, there's never been a better time than right now to check out the show for yourself.
It's growing in Europe, really big right now, and it's going to be the next big sport, I think.
Well, Tina actually grew the sport a lot, and it's grown a lot over the years. Like, more women have participated.
Starting Father's Day weekend, Timber Tina's Great Maine Lumberjack Show will have shows every night until the end of August. For more information, check out the story on our website, foxbangor.com. In Trenton, Devin Dagnall, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Just so fun to watch all the different competitions that they do. I'm sure it's even better in person. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you have a great rest of your night and a fantastic weekend. Thanks for tuning in.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC 7, right now for ABC 7 News at 11.
Planet Oats so creamy and not watery like.
Exactly, and unsweetened, has 0 grams of sugar.
And don't forget, it's an excellent source of calcium. Wow, Planet Oat really has it all. You guys are so...
And it's just not justice, because he's innocent.
Do you want exoneration?
And not only do I want exoneration, I deserve exoneration. I should have never been in the prison to begin with.
Leo says his faith has given him the strength to not only fight for himself, but also for his late wife, Michelle.
How often do you think of Michelle?
Every single day. Every single day. And this is not yet complete justice for her. And she deserves justice. She deserves better than this.
Leo Schofield is in the process of writing a book and hopes sharing his story will help in criminal justice reform.
And we should mention that for more on Leo's release, you could listen to a new bonus episode of the Bone Valley podcast. That is our program for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm David Muir.
And I'm Deborah Roberts. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.
Real life true crime drama.
Follow the clues. The Hunt. Binge it all anytime. 2020 True Crime. Streaming now on Hulu.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Peter Dubois.